Alright, hopefully this video won't be too long. Response video to Nicotine. I won't play his video. Really disappointing. He's brought up something dendrophilia and brought up like 2 years ago, which is this trolley thing and a variation on it that obliges the person to actually do something active. They're not just pressing a button anymore, doing the right thing. They actually have to do something. They have to put their hands in somebody's guts, so to speak. Yeah, you can come up with lots of scenarios. There's a kitty tied on a board and you have a hammer, and the rule is if you smash the kitty to death, it saves 5 people. Okay, well, the problem is that we are taught, we are conditioned to find it abhorrent to do some things. And some things by natural disposition were that way. I mean, we do dislike guts, and we dislike a lot of things. And so all we have to do is change the scenario, put the switch in some place that makes it difficult for us emotionally to do what we know might be the right thing. And that's all we're talking about now, is now we've changed the equation from what's the truth of the matter to what's emotional. How do humans behave? And that's really not the subject, I don't think. I don't think it's this is exactly the thing I keep complaining about, but everybody just keeps forcing psychology into philosophy, and it's very destructive to that truth. So they even brought up this old transplant argument, and there is a practical, yes, if you bet on it over time you will win, truth. But right now we're making decisions like that are completely subjective, bigoted, and biased, in that we will spend preposterous amounts of money to save an American life, as if somehow an American life had was anything superior to any other life in the world. And so we'll squander the resources that could save 1,000 people even to save one person here. And we do it every day just in the way we live, or the way we spend resources that could save lives. There are starving people in China. It's a truth. You can save them. You can prevent them from having to go into a coal mine where they have a 50% chance of dying, by just simply not having some of the shit you have. It's that simple. So yeah, but what we do emotionally, how we have to live our lives, is a practical matter because of the way our emotional character is built, is separate issue from what is the truth. Just as it's different in a war from being the general who's giving the orders and being the soldier that has to implement them. They're just different things, and there's just no point in combining the two and calling it something, because it turns into mush. You can't mix these two things and describe anything unless you're explicit about the fact that isn't this a dilemma, that our human nature isn't really made to allow us to exercise our best judgment, that there is this conflict between what we intellectually can know to be the truth and the right thing to do, and what our body will enable us to do. I mean, you can just go forever with these scenarios. I mean, okay, there's a nuclear bomb, and you can stop the nuclear bomb from going off, but you'll have a 50% chance, a less chance of doing it if you, we'll use Christina Applegate because that's my favorite. Okay, yeah, she's ready. I mean, really ready. She wants you badly. She's right there. Right now, you've reduced the odds of saving the world by 50% if you stop at the Christina bench. Yeah, but the neat nature of the beast. Yeah, well, I can get away with it. We'll calculate a way to justify not doing the right thing because it'll be convenient to us. It'll do something for us. We get a payoff. We're seducible. We're corruptible emotionally. But it has nothing to do with the fact that there is a truth, a pragmatic, practical, real-world, consequential, factual, actual truth. And so let's just acknowledge that yes, it is likely true that if you have an opportunity to sacrifice one to save the many, that it's likely that you should do that. Okay, but it's very hard to create a mechanism that number one says you can force people to do that. I mean, you can't force people to, jump on the grenade and save all his pals or something, even though it's the right thing to do. If the guy don't want to do it, he don't want to do it, and as soon as you start forcing this morality on everybody to that extreme, there's just no practical way to do that, I don't think. But let's understand the truth and the principle, and let's even humiliate ourselves a bit with that truth now and then, and even talk about the fact that we waste resources preposterously, that we use 70% of the world's resources, to feed ourselves. Let's get real. And so there's nothing wrong with pointing out the truth, but there's also you have to be honest to the truth and acknowledge that there is a truth about the fact that we are emotional animals that will not always act in their best judgment. They will not always do what their brain knows is the right thing to do. And in some cases, it can be justified. As much as it can't be justified, it can be justified because of our very strong self-interest motivation, and the mere fact that you can create a scenario that we're just incapable of. I mean, let's create a thing where the switch to save the people is inside somebody's guts, and you have to put your hand in their guts, and you have to work your hand up to the right place and press the. You can create a scenario that's just so abhorrent to our basic nature that we just won't be able to do it. We won't be able to get over our emotional bias. And then sometimes it will just be the convenient thing and the selfish thing and the Christina Candy thing that'll seduce us. But that's the reality of it. But let's not mix the two subjects. Let's talk about the fact that there is pragmatic, real, hard truth out there about what is practical and what it will return over time the best result. And that's our intelligence, that's doing the math, the pragmatic, hard, utilitarian math. And then there's real world, practical fact that we are animals, that we are cats to be herded, or whatever the scenario is. We have to concede we have to make some concessions to the fact that we are selfish animals, and that we can't act like machines. We can't act purely logically and rationally and sensibly, because we are compelled by emotions and dispositions that have fear in them and all kinds of other shit that's going to get in our way. So anyway, really bad video. Really, I mean, come on. I mean, you talked like you were bringing up something original. It's not original.